It all started with a whisper in the dark. There are moments in life when you sense something is terribly wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on it. It's like an itch under your skin, something primal, something that fills you with dread, even when everything seems fine. That's how I felt the moment I stepped foot into the abandoned hospital. It was supposed to be a simple thrill, an old building, some urban legends. I had no idea that by the time I left, I would have come closer to death than I ever imagined. It was late, around midnight, and I was with my friends, Jake and Olivia. We were always looking for something to spice up our boring weekend nights, and after hearing rumors about the old St. John's Hospital, we thought it'd be a laugh to check it out. An old rotting place where people said ghosts wandered the halls. "Are you sure about this?" Olivia asked, her voice tremulous as we stood before the rusted gates, the moonlight casting long shadows across the crumbling facade. I could tell she was scared, but I just smirked, trying to hide my own unease. "It's just a hospital, Liv, nothing to be afraid of. We'll get some cool pictures, maybe scare ourselves for fun." Jake, ever the daredevil, pushed the gate open with a creak. "Let's get this over with. I'm not scared of a couple ghosts." None of us knew what we were about to walk into. The air inside was thick and stale, and the faint smell of mildew clung to the walls like a heavy blanket. We crept through the broken doors and into the lobby. My flashlight flickered, casting long shadows over the cracked tiles and peeling wallpaper. It was eerily quiet, and the silence felt suffocating. The only sounds were our footsteps and the occasional drip of water somewhere deep inside the hospital. We made our way down a dark corridor, the floors groaning under our weight as we moved deeper. The further we went, the more I felt like something was wrong, like the walls were closing in on us. "Maybe we should go back," Olivia murmured, looking over her shoulder. "This place, it doesn't feel right." Jake waved her off. "It's fine. You're just spooked." That's when we heard it. A soft creak from the end of the hallway. I stopped in my tracks. "Did you hear that?" I whispered. Olivia looked pale, her eyes wide. It came from the morgue. It wasn't the wind. No, it was too deliberate, too slow. "Come on, let's just look," Jake insisted, always the bravest of us, or so he liked to think. We made our way toward the morgue doors. As we approached, the coldness in the air intensified. I could feel my breath catch in my throat. It was freezing despite the warmth of the night outside. Then, from behind the morgue doors, came a low moan. I froze. Jake pushed the door open, and we stepped into the room. The morgue was as terrifying as it was cold. There were empty slabs, a single light hanging from the ceiling, flickering as though it couldn't quite hold on to life. I swallowed hard, the smell of rot overwhelming. And that's when we saw it. A figure in the corner, barely visible in the shadows. I couldn't move. Neither could Olivia. Jake, always the first to act, took a step forward, his voice faltering as he whispered, "Hello? Is someone there?" The figure didn't move. I felt my heart pounding in my chest, and before I could stop myself, I stepped back, almost knocking over a rusted cart. The sound of metal scraping against the floor echoed in the room like a death knell. The figure moved. I could barely make out its features. Its face was pale, hollow, and its eyes were wide and staring, unblinking, as though it had been waiting for years. It opened its mouth, but no sound came out. The air around us seemed to thicken as a strange, guttural noise filled the room. Then the door slammed shut behind us. We were trapped. Panic surged through me as the lights flickered again. My flashlight went out. I heard Olivia scream as the figure began to shuffle toward us, its arms reaching out with unnaturally long fingers, the sound of dragging feet scraping the floor. Jake pulled at the door, his hands trembling. But the door wouldn't budge. We were stuck, trapped in the morgue with whatever that thing was. It was moving closer, and then from the corner of my eye, I saw something that froze me to the core. There were more figures, lining the walls, their faces hidden in shadow, watching us, waiting. "Help!" Olivia cried out, her voice frantic. The dragging sound grew louder, closer. It was coming for us. I tried to scream, but nothing came out. My body was paralyzed with fear. I could feel the coldness, the suffocating weight of death creeping in. My breath came in ragged gasps. And then, just as the figure reached out for me, a loud bang echoed through the room. The lights flickered one last time and then went out completely. Silence. When the lights came back on, the figures were gone. The morgue was empty. We scrambled to open the door, and this time it gave way. We burst out into the hallway, our hearts racing. But the hospital wasn't empty. It wasn't silent. We heard footsteps following us. We ran, but I could feel something dark, something malevolent, following behind us, and I knew in that moment it wasn't going to let us leave. We finally reached the exit, but just as we stepped outside, I turned around. And in the window of the hospital, I saw it, those hollow eyes staring out at us. The hospital had marked us.